All right, hi guys, welcome back. So this video is just basically I am redoing my COVID 19 video. So when I made the video, I thought it was really good. My husband was like, "Oh gosh, Carrie, you made me look so bad. Everybody's gonna think I'm awful." So I said, "Okay, fine." And I also have to just let you guys know, like, I am not a doctor. I'm just as much as I'm a registered nurse, I'm just relating to you, letting you guys know about my, not relating to you, relaying to you my personal experience with COVID. So I'm basically just letting you guys know about my personal experience with COVID and how it affected myself and my family. So unfortunately, my entire family got infected with COVID-19. And that is the story of a lot of families across the GTA, Greater Toronto area. I live in Canada. So unfortunately, that's the story. You know, one person is ill and then everybody gets sick. And the reason why my household became ill with COVID is because of the phase where, you know, you have it, but you're asymptomatic. And so you interact with other people. And unfortunately, because you are asymptomatic, you unknowingly transfer it to others. And so my husband unfortunately was exposed to COVID-19 at work. He was in close contact with one of his coworkers who wasn't wearing a mask because at the time they were driving to a job-related place, and the individual did not have a mask on, and my husband also forgot to put his mask on. I guess he figured, you know, he was just driving somebody somewhere. It's no big deal. But unfortunately, that person, although they had COVID, but they were not symptomatic. So because they're in close proximity to each other, what he's breathing out, my husband is unfortunately inhaling the droplets, right? That's why they say to keep a 6-foot distance, sorry, because your droplets have the potential to reach that 6 feet, but outside of it, they break up, they disperse too far apart in the air, so inhalation risk is very low. But when you're in a vehicle with somebody, you're a lot closer than 6 feet apart, and so you're more at risk. And so that's unfortunately how my husband got infected with the virus. So that's something to think about, you know, because we don't really think it's problematic if we're like driving a friend somewhere or a family member that doesn't reside in our home somewhere, because, you know, they look well, they feel well, they have no symptom. But unfortunately, excuse me, if you're going to be within close proximity to somebody, I would say, who does not live in your home, who's not within your personal circle that you know for absolute sure does not have COVID, then you should always take precaution and wear a mask. Now, when my husband caught the virus, we weren't aware because, like I said, in the first stage of it, you don't have any symptoms and you are asymptomatic. So he was exposed to it unknowingly, and then he came home and we unknowingly, myself and my 3 children, were exposed to the virus. And we didn't know, so we weren't protecting ourselves at home, because at home we don't wear masks and things like that because you're not sick, I'm not sick, they're not sick, why are we wearing a mask? And we take precautions when we are outside of the home. My older 2, they wear their masks. I don't take my 3-year-old anywhere with me. Like, she hasn't been to the store. She hasn't been to the store since, I don't know, since COVID started. Like, I don't take her anywhere because she's not going to keep the mask on. She's 3 years old. She's not going to keep a mask on. So I usually travel, if I go somewhere, and at a very minimum, do I take my older 2 with me, because I just don't want to expose them to it. I don't want them to get sick. And so they don't usually go anywhere with me. But they were attending school, and the schools here have very strict rules. You know, they have to wear their mask, they have to wash their hands, there's hand washing stations, there's hand sanitizers, everybody is monitored, you know. When they go to play, they have to keep distance. So they didn't get any infections from school. My daughter was even put on isolation, her class, because one of the students tested positive for COVID. And so as a means of controlling the spread of it, her class had to go into quarantine for 2 weeks. So, you know, you have to adjust your schedule at work. Praise the Lord that I'm a weekend worker. So like I'm home during the week. So I did that, no problem. And my husband's a business owner, so he could come home on the day that I'm off, that I'm at work, and watch them. And, you know, so it worked out okay. But unfortunately, not everybody has that schedule. So, you know, if you work 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, what are you supposed to do when everything else is closed? Where do you put your kids? So it was really hard for some parents. Anywho, but even with that, she didn't acquire the virus at all. So jumping back to my husband getting ill. So the person that he was exposed to, you know, started to get sick. So then the person tested and they were positive. So then they notified my husband. But already he suspected that he might have it because he started to get the headaches and then he was getting short of breath. So when my shift was done on the Sunday morning, because I do nights, I came home, got the kids ready with him, and then we all went to the test center because I'm a registered nurse at work. I work in the emergency department, and so I can, oops, I kicked the camera. I can bring my kids in to the peds testing center because we have a pediatric testing center, and because I'm an employee, I don't have to make an appointment, so to speak. We just waited until the appointment ahead of us was finished, and then we went in, and I told them I work there and I'm bringing my kids in because my husband has symptoms and somebody that he was in close contact with without wearing a mask or anything tested positives, and he's having symptoms. So I think I said that twice. So anywho, so we were tested, and as soon as we came home, my husband was quarantined in the basement. And, you know, he was very good with the quarantine. Like, he wore his mask all the time at home. He wore gloves so that, you know, even though we were like wiping down everything that he touched, we still took precautions. He wore gloves, and it was really hard for him to keep social distance because my little one, she would run, daddy, daddy, and then he'd be like, no, or I'd like grab her and be like, no, you can't go in the basement. But anywho, when the public health doctor called to follow up with us, he said, you know, it was too early for myself and the children to be tested. We have to be tested 7 to 10 days post-exposure. So our test was most likely a false negative. So we went back a week. Was it a week? No, 10 days, because we were tested on the 20th. And so we had to go back on the 30th, myself and the children. But prior to going back, I knew that we were positive. So the first person to start getting sick was my son, Ethan. He started to get headache and diarrhea. And I remember wondering, like, why is he waking up at night going to the bathroom? But it just didn't click to me, you know, that he had COVID. And then after he got sick, and mind you, it wasn't terrible. I mean, his headaches were bad, but he wasn't like, he didn't need to be rushed to the hospital, thank God, or anything like that. So then my middle daughter, my second eldest, she became ill. She had the diarrhea, and she complained of headache and abdominal pain. Like, both of them would say, oh, my tummy hurts, mommy, my tummy hurts. And then they'd be pooping, and then their head was hurting. And then my youngest got sick. She had I remember waking up and saying to my husband, oh my God, like, Mackenzie was roasting last night. Like, even our foot bottom was hot. Like, I couldn't even, honestly, I couldn't even touch her foot bottom. It was so hot. Like, she was just ravaged with, with the fever for a couple of days. And I swear, like, her temp was like 40 and up. She was very hot, and she had rigors. You know, when your body gets to be too hot, like, the shivering starts, and you know your body's trying to cool down, and she would shiver, and I was afraid that she was gonna have a seizure. Like, so around the clock, the nurse and me, Advil, Tylenol, Advil, like, I would alternate. And I find when I give Advil, like, it gives her more relief. Like, Tylenol, we give it every 4 to 6 hours, right? But we can do it every 4 hours. But the Advil, you do it every 6 hours. And so I would give her the Advil, especially at night, so that she can be comfortable enough to sleep. But she struggled with it. And it's so hard when you see your little one sick. Like, it really is. Like, you know, it wasn't a fun time. Me now, like, everybody else got symptoms, but they weren't, like, horrible. But I had horrible symptoms. Like, I knew something. I knew I was positive before I even told it, because let me tell you something. I suffer from migraines, and usually I get migraines because of the temperature changes. So any drop in temperature affects my head. Like, and living in a country that has seasons is not easy when you have migraines. Like, the change of the seasons, let alone, like, sometimes it's raining, sometimes it's snowing, sometimes it's warm, sometimes it's hot. Like, it's horrible on my head. But I started to get these headaches, and I tell you, it was as if my head was going to explode. That's the only way I can describe it. I felt like my head was going to explode. I would just cry. I would just cry and cry and cry and cry and just cry. That's all I could do. Doesn't matter. It didn't matter what I took. I have gabapentin that I take for my headaches, but I usually don't take it during the day because it makes you drowsy. So, like, I took Advil, I took Tylenol, I took Tylenol 3s, I took Percocet, I took my gabapentin. Like, nothing relieved my pain. I remember and the headache, because when you get headaches so badly, you also get nausea. And I couldn't even eat. I couldn't eat anything. Like, I just would throw it up. I would just throw it up. So I literally would just lay my blanket around the toilet and just lie there and just rock back and forth and cry and vomit, rock back and forth. It was horrible. At one point, I thought I was gonna have a stroke because my head was hurting me so bad. I was afraid I was going to have a stroke and die. So I asked my husband, I'm like, "Oh, Michael, just give me your blood pressure pills because I can't do this anymore. Man, kill me." And he would be like, "No, you know, it's not gonna work right away anyways because it takes a couple of days before." And I was just like, why does he have to explain it to me? Why does he have to be right? But anywho, like, literally nothing helped my headache. And I had it severely for, I'm going to say, like, 3 to 5 days. And then it just lingered, and it just lingered, and it just lingered. Like, even now, like 3 weeks later, I still have headaches. They're manageable, but they're still there. And the weirdest symptom that I experienced was losing my sense of smell. I couldn't smell anything. I remember waking up one day and I'm like, I was cooking curry chicken and I couldn't smell it. I couldn't taste it. Like, it was so weird. I think for me, like, it was just odd. And you don't know how you're affected when your sense of smell goes than when it actually goes. Like, it's the most uncomfortable, strangest feeling. You just feeling like you're not in your body. Like, it's just the weirdest feeling, not being able to smell nothing. My deodorant, my farts, I couldn't smell anything. And my husband was like, "Oh, thank God you can't smell fart because I have to fart." That's when you know that's love, because you guys can fart around each other, because we do that all the time. I fart around him all the time. What are you gonna do? You're married. You just gotta when we have this saying back home, when fought be no, let fought be free because it kill merely. So basically saying like, don't hold in your gas because it can kill you. Where was I? Yeah, so I couldn't smell anything, and that my sense of smell didn't come back till like a couple of days ago. So yeah, I remember I passed gas and I could smell it, and I was like, whoa, that's pretty bad. But wait, I could smell it. It was awesome. I don't think I've ever been that happy smelling my gas before. But anywho, and I knew at that moment that I needed to wash out. I needed a washout because inside of me it did smell rotten. Anywho, so yeah, so I lost my sense of smell. I had headache. I had nausea. I still struggle with the nausea. Like, I don't eat that much because my stomach just, I don't know, it just doesn't feel the same. Like, I just feel nauseous all the time. So, you know, when you're nauseous, you can't really eat anything. You can't stomach it. It just makes you vomit. So, I mean, I'm not sure if that's a lingering effect. I did like Google it, Dr. Google, and there are cases where they had the nausea and it lingered for a long time. So this could be one of those lasting side effects type of thing, but hopefully it resolves itself. But I'm telling you, I mean, it's good for the waistline, but it's not good because you just don't feel good. Like, and then the fatigue, like, oh my God, I don't know how to describe the fatigue that you feel when you have the COVID. Like, it's like somebody just beat you up and you just can't get up. It just, like, I had no energy. I had no energy. At one point, my husband was like, it's been 3 days. You need to get up out of the bed. But, like, I couldn't. And you just, because you're so tired, you just want to sleep all the time. And then that reminded me about something that I read that, you know, people were saying, don't give in to the fatigue, don't lie down, just keep moving. But honestly, I couldn't keep moving. I was exhausted. My body was just too tired to move. I couldn't move. So that was a horrible feeling. So I say all of this just to encourage you guys and to warn you guys that it is important to wear your mask, comma dash semicolon, exclamation point. It is very important to wear your mask. I understand that, you know, it's not comfortable, but possibly spreading it to your loved ones is worse than not being comfortable. Like, you can give up your comfort for the sake of safety, not just of yourself, but of others. So it's important to wear your mask. Like, wear your mask when you're going to the grocery store, wear your mask when you're in close proximity with somebody that you don't know, right? So, like, if you're in a vehicle, like my husband was, with somebody, and that's closer than 6 feet, right? So you have to make sure that you have a mask on to protect yourself at all times, especially when you're in close proximity to somebody. Just protect yourselves. You know, they also have the face shields. You can wear those. And when we wear the surgical masks at work, and by the way, I wear a surgical mask, I wear my face shield, and if I'm going in isolation, I have gown on, gloves on, like booties, a head scarf. Like, we are wrapped up at work. And when you have to de-gown and all that stuff, oh my gosh, the process is insane. But we are very cautious, right? Washing our hands, like, my hand them dry. I had to say it in Bajan accent. J. My hands are dry. At the end of the day, I look like I'm 90 years old. There's this amazing Bajan nurse that I work with, and she always used to say to me when I first started, she'd be like, Carrie Ann, the OIV is dry. Right? And at first I'm like, what? The OIV is dry? What is that? And then somebody explained to me that she's saying the IV is dry. So that's like the only thing I can say really well in a Bajan accent. And I'm very proud of that. Thank you. Because Bajan accent is like the most difficult one to impersonate. Like, it's so hard. But like, my hands are dry. By the time my shift is finished, like, I look like I'm 90 years old. They're cracked. Because I don't really put on the cream all the time afterwards. Because as soon as I curl my hands, I have to wash them anyway. So what is the point of wasting all the Jergens? What is the point? I don't know. So I just don't. Sometimes I'll put Vaseline in between, but that's it. So yeah, wear your mask, wash your hands. Don't put your loved ones at risk. I have a friend who had to be hospitalized. I know people who have died from COVID, hospitalized from COVID, and then there are others that had it and didn't even know, and they were okay. And then there's me in between, like sufferation and death. Like I was just in between. And I just want to say, when you have this virus, like, I just want to give a shout out to my neighbors for Deborah, Mark, and their family for being amazing Christians who, like when I said I'm just showed example of what love is, of what Christ-like behavior and love is. Like, I love those guys. Like, when I tell you I couldn't do anything, and Deborah would cook meals and send it over, like with her kids, treats for my kids. I remember one night I was just crying, but you know, you have small kids and a sick husband, you have to get up and just do it. You just have to do the damn thing. You just got to try and take care, do whatever you can. And I was standing over the sink with the dishes, and I was just so weak, and I was just crying. And you know, I don't know about other moms, but I don't try to show my sufferation, for lack of a better word. I don't like to show that I'm sick or suffering to my children, or even sometimes to my husband. I kind of hide it and put on like a good smiley face, and I try to be stoic and strong. And Deborah called me, and she's like, "Do you need anything?" And I was like, "Deborah, I couldn't find Tylenol because I thought I had a bottle, but I didn't." And I just started crying, and I'm like, "I need Tylenol so badly. Can I please have some Tylenol?" Because I was kind of freaked out about taking Advil because I heard that it can predispose you to blood clots. You know, sometimes you just have to stop reading these things online. Sometimes you just have to stop, because they're not doctors and they're not nurses and they're not healthcare professionals and they didn't go to school for it. But everybody's an expert on COVID. Anywho, so I actually don't like that sound. Don't do it, Carrie. Whew. I'm sensitive to sounds because of my ear. But anywho, yeah, it was like 9 o'clock at night, and she went to the store. She bought me Tylenol. I asked her for some candy because I thought sugar, if I could taste something sweet. I kept eating candy because I'm like, I gotta taste this sugar. But anywho, she brought me some Nerds because I really like those candies. And then she brought Christmas gifts for my children and treats for them. And she's like, anything you need, absolutely anything you need, just let me know. You need me to go grocery shopping, I'll go grocery shopping for you. You need me to cook for you, I'll cook for you. You need me to do anything, I'll do it. She's like, I wish I could take the kids because, you know, I know you need your rest, but I can't even, there are no words to describe how invaluable it is to have people like that in your life. The lady who owns the daycare that my daughter goes to, Mackenzie, she would be like, anything you need, you need to grocery shopping, you need me to cook, you need me to do this. She would call every day and check up on me. Deborah and her husband would call every day and check up on me. My mom would call. My mom even baked me like a black cake and brought it over for me and cooked dinner and brought it over. Like, that stuff was the best. People, I never I didn't reveal that my husband was sick, but when we all got it, I did reveal it on my Instagram. I think, what's my Instagram? I think it's just Miss Lati. I think so. I don't know what it is. I need to check, and you guys can come and see more of my life. Because I'm always posting, and it's not because I want people to like me, but I just like to post it. I think it's a great way to preserve memories, because if I lose all my pictures and stuff, I can always go online and find them. And the other day, my kids were watching some of my old YouTube videos, and they're like, oh my gosh, mommy, we were so small. It's fantastic to see that. I absolutely love it. So anyways, going back to what I was saying, like, having people call up on you and check on you was amazing. So if you even if people are not sick, because we're all in quarantine and doing all these different things, like call and check up on your friends, check up on your family, just say hello to somebody. Like, it can mean the absolute world. I do know there are people who knew we were sick and just didn't care. Crickets. No call, no email, no letter, nothing. They just didn't care. And that was a life lesson. That's a lesson that we will never forget. And yeah, why may I tell you? Wow. It's amazing how cold and callous people can be. It's amazing. Honestly, it amazes me. It absolutely amazes me how uncaring some people can be. Especially when you're always considerate and loving towards these people. And then you need the love and consideration and they don't even care. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. I don't think I'm ever going to get used to that. Like, I don't think I would ever get used to how cold and mean and inconsiderate and selfish people can be. It's amazing. Absolutely amazes me. Anywho, so call and check up on your family, check up on your friends. Do your best to take care of yourself. And you're not just taking care of yourself for you, it's for others as well. And that's my I want to thank this lovely lady who commented on my last video. Unfortunately, she couldn't share it because I took it down, but I think it was Thin Beautiful Sister Locks. Thank you for watching the video previously and commenting, and feel free to share this one. I don't think I'm going to take it down. Doesn't matter what Michael said. I'm gonna take it down. But yes, yeah, wear your mask, wash your hands, keep your social distance. And it's okay that we're on lockdown right now. It's okay. Like, we just need to do everything we can so that we can get back to our normal lives. I would love to see everybody's faces. I would love to go on vacation. I would love to just go outside without having to wear a mask or a face shield. I just want to breathe air and trust the air that I'm breathing. And yes, I will be getting the vaccine once I go back to work. Yes. Yes. Simidel twine muscle ya. Right here, so stick it in, please, and thanks. I will be getting my vaccine. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I know I've had it, but I will be getting my vaccine because you can get it again. Boom. How about that? Yeah, no, I'm getting my vaccine, and I'm grateful to be able to get it. I used to be skeptical, but I'm not skeptical anymore. After having COVID, I am not skeptical about getting this vaccine anymore because I never want to experience that again because it was the worst thing I ever had in my life. And the danger is that you don't know how COVID's going to affect you. Like I said to my friend, you know, it's like when you inhale the droplets, it's like, or you put it in your mouth because you touch your hand and you're dirty, you know, wash your hand, put it in your mouth. If you get this COVID virus in your body, it's like for a week, you know, it's kind of just sitting there saying, all right, should have headaches all the time, so I'm going to attack our head. Our heart not good, we're going to attack that. Lungs not good, all right, we're going to attack that too. It's like it's just roaming around, formulating an attacking plan, and then boom, it attacks. And so everybody reacts differently. So just be careful out there, guys. Let us all just be careful, protect our loved ones, so we can live to see our lives go back to normal again. God bless you. Bye. I know this video is long. I'm sorry, but I had to do it. Bye.